Good afternoon, Push Partners. This is Nick Hayward coming at you live. I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk with you a little bit about facing opposition. We've all been at a point in our life where we had to face something that didn't seem as though we could be victorious, and it was something that seemed a lot bigger and more powerful than we are. But I just wanted to talk with you a little bit about facing opposition and remind you of the power of 5 small stones and a lot of faith. We all know the story from the Bible of David and Goliath, where a shepherd boy decided to go to war with a giant. Okay, so in this scenario here, we're going to be David and Goliath is going to represent our opposition. I want to remind you that when you're facing opposition, opposition likes to have a great memory. It wants to remind you of the times that you've tried and you failed. Opposition also wants to let you know that the odds are stacked against you. Opposition will remind you that you're not born into a family of privilege. Opposition will let you know that everything within you is telling you that you can't do it. But what you have to remember with your opposition is that you have faith, okay? What opposition is also going to do is opposition is going to use those close to you to also do its best to turn you around and tell you that you can't make it. See, Saul spoke to David and said, "Are you sure?" This is paraphrasing, of course. "Are you sure this is what you want to do? You want to go into war against this giant?" He was a warrior from childhood, and now he's a man of war, and you are just a shepherd boy. You see, opposition will get in your head and get in those close to you and do its best to use those on your inner circle to even turn you around. But while the opposition is talking, you have to let your faith speak for you. So see, what your faith is going to do is what faith did for David. See, faith is an excellent reminder of your faith resume. You see, faith let David know, yeah, he's big. And we understand that people don't think you can do this. But remember when that lion came to get the sheep, what did you do? You killed that lion because you had faith. So see, faith is like your coach and you're in the boxing ring with your opposition. And what the faith is going to do, the faith is going to be there in your ear saying, "I know what the people around you are saying. I know what the odds are stacked against you, but I need you to focus. And I need you to remember that we've been in tight situations before, and even in these tight situations, you got victory." So you got to keep your faith. And see, the beautiful thing about this situation is God knew when this story happened with David and Goliath that many, many years later in 2020, I would be where I am, you would be where you are, and the world would be in the situation that it's in, and we would all be facing whatever opposition we are facing. So see, people with strong faith understood that God could have given David this victory simply because he's God and that's what he does. But see, God knew that people were going to need something tangible that they could see. So as David is preparing to go to war with Goliath, God said, "Stop by the brook and pick up 5 small stones." He didn't send him with a big machete. He didn't send him with a machine gun. He didn't send him with a large hammer. He said, "Go to the brook and get 5 smooth stones." Not that I need you to use the stones to obtain this victory, but these stones are just something to be a metaphor for people in years to come. You see, so David, as he's preparing to go into battle against Goliath to win the victory, the opposition is on the outside and they're saying, here is a 9-foot giant. And there's a 5-foot man. And this man, who's not even skilled at battle, thinks he's going to win against the giant. You see, opposition will have your friends or so-called friends behind you that pushed you up to do it, but never thought you could be victorious. Opposition will have your inner circle supporting you on the way there, but looking at you sideways when you step into the ring. But that is when your faith will activate and your faith will get you to where you need to be. So with 5 stones and not even needing them all, David slayed Goliath. So you might say to yourself, what are these stones and what do these stones have to do with this? See, With these 5 stones, the first stone represents faith. David had faith to believe that with Christ, he can do all things. So whatever opposition you are facing, just know that with Christ it's possible. Know with a belief in self, it can happen. Know that if it is for you, it is for you, and you're going to obtain the victory. David had trust that if he went into the battle, if he did as he was instructed, that victory would be his. David had courage, because I'm sure that when we're facing our opposition, and I know for myself that it takes courage, because your mind is telling you, you see this giant in front of you and you know that you're not skilled and you're ready. So logic says 1 and 1 equals 2. And in this situation, your 2 was not going to be what gives you victory. But you got to have courage to say that if I step forward and I drown out the outside noise and I focus, that this can happen. I understand that I'm not born into a family of privilege. I understand that I don't have the finances to make this happen. I understand that the doctor gave a diagnosis that was not in my favor, but I have courage to believe that if I face it and I focus, that the victory can be mine. David had obedience. Obedience to do exactly as he was instructed to do and carry it out just that way. You see, the outside might have said, I know it's supposed to be a fair fight, but you better call somebody to help you on the sly. That's not what he did. He went forward exactly as he was told to. So now with 5 small stones and a man twice his size, a stone brought him victory. 1 stone. Okay? So if the stone can bring you victory, the final of the 5 stones was praise. Once you receive the victory, you have to give thanks for the victory. Okay? Because you realize you didn't do it by yourself. You realize that you're not in it by yourself. And you also realize that it can be done. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Okay? So now that he's taken his stones and he's received this victory, this is something that we can use in our everyday lives, because we're facing things. We don't know how we're going to make it. We don't know what to use. But if we have faith, if we have trust, if we exercise, finally give praise and have victory. See, what we have to realize is when it comes to lots of things in our lives, we can't rely on logic. You've got to be brave enough. You've got to be bold enough. And you've got to have enough faith to step out and make sure that these things are done. Because if we look at what logic and science tells us, logic and science built the Titanic, but faith built an ark. Okay, we know the story of the Titanic as well as we know the story of the ark. So I just want to leave you with this thought on today. Be encouraged. You are victorious. You are a winner. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. The odds may be stacked against you, but you can have the victory. The victory is already there. You've just got to position yourself in a place that you can see it. I hope this blesses you. I hope you have a great day. I hope you're ready to face your opposition. Continue forward and be blessed. Everybody have a good evening. Thank you.